Listen up, men. The perpetrator is this man.
What's his crime? Theft? Murder? Rumor has that he's about to speak freely on the internet.
Oh, well, that doesn't seem so bad.
Let him finish. Also, he shoots on Canon.
Son of a... So what are we gonna do about it? Dislike his videos? Break his lenses?
I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna tear him apart in the comments section.
Well, now I'm just nervous. Hey, what's up, guys? My name's Josh Winiarski, and I'm a photographer and filmmaker here on YouTube as well as Instagram. And today, I'm going to be talking about why I'm still using a Canon 80D, a 3.5-year-old camera, in 2019. Now, especially with the 90D coming out soon, at an estimated price of around $1,400, I'm kind of deciding, do I want to maybe upgrade to that, or do I want to jump to full frame? So let's get into it. Now, I want to start off by saying when I originally bought this camera, over a year ago, I was deciding between this and the A6300, and sometimes after seeing other people's footage, I worry that I might have made the wrong choice. Now, I've totally loved shooting on this camera. I still believe it's a beast, but it is lacking in a lot of features. First off, this camera doesn't shoot 4K. It's 2019. My phone shoots 4K. Why doesn't my camera shoot 4K? Second, this camera doesn't do 120 frames per second. Almost every other brand's cameras for around $1,000 can do this at 1080. What the heck? And third, this camera has pretty mediocre low light. It isn't bad, it just isn't great compared to other cameras in this price range. Now, right about now, all you Sony users, Panasonic users, whatever, are probably rubbing your hands maliciously like, oh, we got 'em, boys. So why? Why am I still using this thing? And the short answer is, it's a good camera. I'm still learning from it, and I don't believe it's really holding me back very much, if at all. I'm still working to improve how my footage looks with it. I'm still working to improve how my pictures look with it. So if anything, I'm holding the camera back, not the other way around. With photographers and filmmakers, and especially new ones, there's this myth that camera, it's all that matters. And yes, if you buy a $2,000 camera, slap on an $1,000 lens, and compare it to your smartphone, the footage is gonna look better. And I would hope so. But there's just so much more that goes into a good looking image than simply what you're filming it on. As an example, here's a short clip of a video I posted around a year ago, shot on this same camera, the Canon 80D. My name is Josh Winiarski, and today we're going to be talking about why I bought a Canon 80D in 2018. Seriously, I posted this. 22,000 people have seen it. Look how absolutely dreadful that image looks. I didn't really know how to light the setup, and I definitely messed up the settings. But after using this camera on so many different shoots, watching myself progress just amps me up. I'm so excited. And while I have reached some of the limits with this camera, I still have a little bit left to learn. Now, all these things are a little bit debatable, but when I first got this camera, I realized pretty quickly that I didn't want to go above ISO 6400. And if possible, I wanted to stay below 3200, but 6400 is like my max acceptable for me. So what this meant is I had to problem solve. Okay, how can I light this scene, give it a little more light, but still make it look natural? Or, okay, I can't crank up my ISO, what can I do to keep my camera steadier to lower the shutter speed? Plus, this camera doesn't have in-body stabilization. What this means is I had to find creative ways to stabilize my footage. Okay, let's use a tripod as a counterweight to smooth out the small bumps. Or let's hold out the camera using the camera strap as tension to get smooth pans. Or maybe I just want to use 3 points of contact. Arms in, either put the camera against my chest, put it against my forehead, whatever it takes to get stable shots. Oh, no 120 frames per second? Okay, well let's shoot at 60. It'll still look a little smoother when I slow it down, but what can I do to make that footage smooth? Again, counterweight. I've literally used a rag and just pulled it across the table. If it's stupid but it works, it isn't stupid. I'm a firm believer in the phrase, a poor craftsman blames his tools. Instead of saying, oh, my camera can't do that, I always want to be thinking, okay, these are my limitations, how can I make this shot happen? I actually shot a birthday party a few months ago under the absolute worst conditions, and that's when I really started pushing the limits of this camera. It was low light and people were dancing. Essentially low light action shots, the hardest thing you can shoot. And all I had was a Canon 80D. Now I started shooting at f2.8, but realized it just wasn't letting enough light in. So I tried using a flash. The problem there was the flash was actually too bright. There were RGB lights that got kind of washed out, so I didn't really like how that looked. This left me with one option, the nifty 50. If you don't know what this is, it's one of the fastest lenses you can buy, and it's also one of the cheapest lenses you can buy, and it's just a beast for anything low light. Now, since these were images for someone else, I wanted to keep that ISO 4000 or lower, so a little bit lower of a threshold, which pretty much meant I had to shoot at either f2, f1.8, maybe f2.2, but no higher than that. Now, it was tough shooting. I had to keep that shutter speed around 1/100th of a second, and for the most part wait for small pauses in the action and just fire off a ton of shots and just hope one of them wasn't blurry. But at the end of the day, I got enough good pictures and the client was super happy with it. Now, as I do more and more paid work, having a more expensive, more capable camera is obviously going to benefit me in the long run. But when you think about it, if you're just doing a little bit of client work or you're just starting out, a mid-range camera makes a lot of sense. I mean, for YouTube videos, the quality is more than good enough. And even if you're doing things like short films or, again, a little bit of client work, you know, not shooting commercials or full-length documentaries, but maybe videos for your school, your church, something like that, this camera is going to get the job done. At least it does for me right now. I mean, let's just rewind real quick back to the intro. It was pretty much pitch black when I filmed that. All I had was the campfire, and I used like a little pocket-sized aperture light, and that was enough to keep my ISO below 3200. And yeah, it's not cinema quality, but definitely good enough for YouTube videos. And now to get a little bit controversial, I personally believe that this camera is better for me than a lot of other cameras on the market right now. I mean, the battery life is insane. I take it on overnight backpacking trips, climb mountains with it, and I can just bring a couple of batteries and I'm normally good to go. On top of that, the autofocus and face tracking is absolutely crazy. I'm perfectly comfortable shooting below f2.8 and filming b-roll of myself because I can rely on this camera so much. All of that combined with the flip screen, the touch screen, and that dual pixel autofocus. It is such a good camera, especially if you're a one-man or woman crew. And as far as 4K footage goes, well, I really don't want to touch it anyways. I have a few times, but honestly, working with 4K footage in post is just bleh. Again, if it's paid work or whatever, great, go for it. I understand why it exists, and I understand it's important. I understand it's the way of the future, but I just really don't think it matters for YouTube. It just makes editing, cutting, scrubbing through the timeline, everything just takes longer. Plus, like half of you just watch these videos on your phone anyways. A 5-inch screen, you probably can't even tell the difference. And lastly, I'm still working on my speaking skills, my storytelling, my color grading. I'm always learning new techniques in Lightroom. There are so many ways I can still improve, not based on hardware, that I don't believe this camera is what's holding me back right now. Plus, when you really think about it, it doesn't matter what camera you own if you're just learning, because once you learn everything, even if it's a really cheap camera and the picture quality is just not up to par nowadays, if you learn how to do everything right, learn how to use your settings, learn how to get a shallow depth of field, learn how to color grade, then by the time you do upgrade to a nice expensive camera, your footage is gonna look incredible. So for someone like me who's been doing this for a couple years, but not super long, I mean, I would still qualify myself as more of an enthusiast or intermediate photographer and filmmaker, definitely not professional, then this camera is still the perfect balance between being good but allowing me to have enough money to still live. Now, if you're thinking of buying this camera because you want to do photo and video, I don't know if I'd recommend it in 2019, especially with the 90D coming up. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it is not the best feature-packed camera, probably not the best camera at all for $1,000 right now. But if you look on eBay, grab one used for $600 or $700, I still think it's a really good deal. Yes, it still has its limitations, but this kind of goes with everything in life. But the more problems you encounter, the more problem solving you'll have to do, the more you'll get creative, the more you'll learn, the more you'll grow as a photographer or filmmaker. Now, realistically, I do want to upgrade cameras sometime in the upcoming year. Whether that'll be the 90D, full frame, maybe I'll switch brands. I don't know. But definitely for at least the next 6 months, my plan is to stick around with this camera, work on my color grading, work on everything else. So when I do think that I'm finally worthy of an upgrade, I'm gonna absolutely crush it with whatever camera I buy. As always, if you like the video, be sure to like it. If you have any questions, have any comments, hit up that comment section down below. And if you want to see more content like this, consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks again for watching. My name's Josh Winiarski. Check me out on Instagram, and hey, let me know in the comment section down below, what camera are you filming on right now? Do you like it? Let me know. And with that, I'll catch you all in the next one.